Joyce, I must say, I like. And, of course, he is a very scandalous author. For a long time, he was banned by all kinds of censors and was considered to be one of the dirtiest writers around. Right now, I'm criticizing a book which criticizes him from the exactly opposite point of view, says he's puritanical. So things have really developed since 1920. And the funny thing is that the guy manages to offer as evidence for Puritanism in Joyce one of the passages that got the book banned. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. But anyway, it just goes to show that there are all sorts of viewpoints on a man like James Joyce. But anyway, what I want to talk about is Joyce from a point of view that is useful for us. And he is a great writer. He really is. And, of course, the thing that's so useful for us, as we will see, is the question of Joyce's Catholicism and post-Catholicism and how he remains sort of a Catholic and so forth. We'll see that. But anyway, in literature, the thing that interests us as monks, of course, is not just diversion, but literature insofar as it studies man, and studies man in terms of making something out of his life. And Joyce is very much concerned about that. That's the central thing, because what he's writing about is life of the individual and life of the community as exemplified in what community? What's the community that Joyce has written about at great length? What community did it? Who knows anything about Joyce anyway? Who's ever heard of Joyce before now? What do you think? What's the community he deals with?
Well, the community would be it was very small when they wrote the Ulysses, where he deals with the man in his own reflective thoughts and full consciousness.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the community that's the subject of Ulysses? A religious community, a town, or a...
Oh, well, just a secular community.
Well, what's the name of the particular one? Dublin. Dublin. Ulysses is about Dublin. It's about it's centered on certain people. But in Ulysses, the world is, for all intents and purposes, Dublin. Dublin is the world. And all these people are... And there's this Jew that's wandering. It's one day in Dublin. The day is June the 16th, 1904, in Dublin. And it's everything that's going on in Dublin on June the 16th, 1904. And it's the structure of Homer's Odyssey is fitted into the events of June the 16th, 1904, in Dublin. And Ulysses, the person who carries out all the actions of Homer's Odysseus or Ulysses, is a Jew in Dublin called Leopold Bloom. And he's going all around Dublin, and every incident that he gets into, it corresponds to an incident in Homer, see. And if you know your Homer, and if you could read Joyce with a certain amount of savvy, and if you understand what's going on, this is a very fascinating and very funny book. See? But you've got to know your stuff. But later on, when I get you introduced thoroughly to Joyce, we're going to read some passages of Ulysses here, see. And just some of the more innocent ones, but I mean the ones that will be suitable to give you an idea of what it's all about. A great, great work of art. Now, so he's talking about man and about society. And he also has several other books about Dublin. There's one that I'm going to start with. It's a book of short stories called Dubliners, which was his first book. Some of these short stories are absolute masterpieces. I don't know if I can get that across here. But I mean, as just putting things together, this man had a simple genius for arranging materials in 10 or 15 pages so that without any kind of overstatement or any kind of judgment or anything like that, he simply makes a point, but you've got to work to get it. It's the only thing. Now, so Joyce, therefore, is a great writer of our time. He's 20th century. He died in 1941. In the spring, in Lent. It was a cold day in Lent, and I was walking across the campus of St. Bonaventure University, and one of the theology profs in the St. Bonaventure Seminary came up to me with great satisfaction and says, "Well, Joyce is dead."